We are good to go.
Whichception.
Adception. Yeah, whoever paid for that ad should get a bonus because they're going out over the stream again, even if they're not paying for the impression. All right. Good evening, chat. What's everybody doing tonight? You having fun? Out in chat world?
They're looking for the damage can.
Oh, are they?
Would you like do some special effects whenever you dealt damage?
Yo, Sentinels. I'll shoot for mint in multiplayer. You guys, they're talking about the one shot. Wonderful.
It's a pretty difficult one this week.
Yeah, I played it twice. I was telling to John when we just logged on here. I played it through twice, and I have yet to beat it. So,
I don't know. I beat it the first time. What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, so remember last week when I played horribly, and I kept talking about how I'd be playing better if John was here to help strategize? That's how you can tell. Because I played the one shot twice and failed both times, and he beat it on the first shot.
I could tell it would be tricksy. Like, it would be difficult. And especially it would vary a lot depending on what you do, even on the very first decision. You decide whether Chrono Ranger... Basically, you're deciding whether Chrono Ranger or Tachyon is not going to be able to deal damage. And that makes a huge difference in how the rest of the game plays out.
Aha. So we already have a question from the chat. Cytosine asks, before we get started, I have a question. I haven't had a chance to look yet, but does the free version offer multiplayer? It does not. The point of the free version is, as it is so titled, it is the Learn to Play edition. Its goal is to sort of teach you the mechanics of the game with one particular setup, which you can then shuffle. But that's all it is. It is one setup, the Freedom 4 versus Baron Blade at Insula Primalis. And you can play it as many times as you want in as many different setups as you want, but there is no multiplayer. It is to whet your appetite for the full game.
Yep, it's just a demo.
Just a demo, exactly. So, John, where are you? You have once again changed location, have you not?
That's right. I think last time I was on the stream, was I still in Valencia? I think that would make sense.
Yeah, because so like last week you were in Barcelona and you were not on the stream.
That's right. In Barcelona, I was at Mobile World Congress, which is a pretty cool convention. Basically, if you've been to something like PAX, imagine the PAX Expo Hall and imagine 8 of those in one place.
So really easy to navigate and not crowded at all.
Oh yeah, not crowded at all, and definitely not people with millions of dollars to spend walking around. Really interesting show.
Yeah, and so I guess you tried to pitch Sentinels to some media and potentially some investors and other fun stuff too. So you got to meet all kinds of different people, right?
Yeah, I went to like a startup focused part of it called 4 Years From Now. So who knows what we'll be doing 4 years from now.
4 years from now. 4 years ago, what were we doing? Let's see, it's 2016. That would have been 2012. Oh, right. Duh. It was an election year. So we were doing everything we could to make Uncle Slam.
Barack Obama versus Mitt Romney
Barack
in
Obama
the
versus Mitt
primaries
Romney.
And everything.
That's right. Memories.
And we're working on Sentinel Sidekick.
Yep.
So we had Sentinel Sidekick and the beginnings of a seed of an idea.
That's right.
So after Barcelona, we took a side trip through the Pyrenees into Carcassonne, which you may know from
That's
the board.
Not a real place. That's just a board game.
It's a real place.
I don't believe you.
And there's a really cool old walled city, which is the inspiration for a lot of the Carcassonne board game related stuff. I highly recommend checking it out. It was really cool.
Awesome.
It was also very cold. It was 4 degrees Celsius and very windy.
Well, yeah, and you were telling me too that all your pictures were like gorgeous because there was no one else there because it was so cold.
Yeah, exactly. It's like promotional pictures for the place because there's no tourists at all.
Nice.
And even the stuff in their own film that they showed was like crawling with tourists because they couldn't take a video without having people in it.
Yeah.
I guess. It's actually like most of it is open to the public and free because people live in there and work in there, and there's shops and restaurants and like market and stuff like that. It's actually like a real living place that's like in this amazing sort of fortification. And then there's like parts of it, like the ramparts and stuff like that. You have to pay a little extra to go in, but it's definitely worth it.
Very
/
cool.
tourism. And so after that, we have arrived today, actually, in Marseille. Marseille. See, I was like, I gotta pronounce it properly, and then I pronounced it wrong. Marseille. We're here for a few weeks to check this place out and see what it's like in the south of France.
Very cool. I believe that's called the not. Is it French Polynesia? No, that's not what I'm. It's
What?
no. What am I thinking of? It's
That's a completely different.
That's a completely different thing. It's what's the south, like the Mediterranean coast called? It'll come to me later, I'm sure.
Okay.
Or maybe the chat will get it. They're very good.
Yeah. So I'm just looking. It's in the region of Provence, Alpes, Côte d'Azur.
Very interesting.
So there you go. Cool. So that was my weekend. Was basically going to Carcassonne and making it to
Riviera. Thank you, chat. Yes, French Riviera. That's what I was trying to say.
Is it actually technically in the French Riviera?
I don't know. I thought it was.
Wikipedia. Help me out here. Mediterranean coastline of France. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, definitely not French Polynesia. That was...
That's pretty random.
Sorry about that, folks. Got a little confused.
How was your weekend, Jeremy?
My weekend was amazing. Handelabra was at the Wizard World Comic-Con here in Cleveland all weekend, which was cool. And I gave a couple copies of Sentinels of Multiverse to somebody that I was very excited to meet. I think I'll put up a picture of it real quick. I don't know if there's any Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans in the house, but you can probably see on the stream now the picture that I took with Eliza Dushku, a.k.a. Faith, and for the Dollhouse fans in the room, a.k.a. Echo. That was really cool. I got her to throw up the Handelabra horns in a picture. I was very excited because I was not really excited to meet any of the famous people that were going to be at this Comic-Con. PAX is a little different. You know, PAX is a video game convention. They have celebrities, but mostly the celebrities are sort of wandering the floor and playing video games. Whereas Comic-Con is really set up specifically to get people to be able to meet celebrities. Like, every Comic-Con has a certain number, and there's like a whole way to, like, you know, meet them and take pictures with them and get autographs and whatever. And they announced her the week before the convention, and nobody else that I was interested in. Then I was all like, oh, wait a minute. There actually is someone I'm kind of interested in meeting. Because I'm a huge Joss Whedon / Buffy / Dollhouse / Firefly nerd. And she was actually really cool. I got to chat with her a bit when she signed my Dollhouse DVD. And then I obviously, as you can see, I took a picture with her. So that was really super fun. Yeah, and then other than that, we talked to a lot of Comic-Con attendees. Sent them home with copies, or at least with cards telling them about Sentinels of the Multiverse. I don't know how many of them actually are playing it now, but maybe a few, hopefully. But yeah, it was all in all, it was a pretty cool time. Comic-Cons are a lot of fun. They're very different than a PAX, which is what I'm used to. So it was a fun experience, to say the least. All right, so that's 10 minutes of vamping, so let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome, everybody, to Sentinels Live. Thank you for joining us around the digital tabletop while we play Sentinels of the Multiverse. The goal, as you know, of these streams is not only to have fun, but also show you how to play the game and maybe cover some strategies that can help you win. As we are the developers, you can sometimes see some stuff that no one else has seen. Not quite yet this evening, but maybe soon will there be more content coming. The game does include a tutorial that covers the basics, but we always do our best to explain exactly what we're doing, when we do it, and why, unless Jeremy is playing by himself, as he did last week. And I was just telling John before we signed on tonight, trying to play the game, effectively strategize, manage the chat, and actually make it somewhat entertaining at the same time was actually really challenging. If we get stuck, I will certainly do it again, but man, I don't know how entertaining last week was, but I did my best. I finally posted it this morning, so if you want to go check those out. Last week's Sentinels Live did feature probably our quickest loss to date to any villain, which was, I think, about 8 minutes I lost to the Dreamer. So feel free to go check that out at our YouTube channel. And then, of course, as I always say, depending on how long it takes for us to win or lose, or in the case of last week, win, then lose, then lose, then win, we sometimes play more than one full game in an episode, and episodes usually last somewhere from an hour to 2 hours. Sentinels of the Multiverse is currently available for iPad, Android tablets, as well as PC, Mac, and Linux via Steam, and always, of course, in cardboard. And you can get more info about the game at sentinelsdigital.com. Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate the fact that you were entertained. I was trying to keep many things up in the air at once. But now our resident strategist is back, so we'll be good to go.
So while you were saying all that stuff, I was reading Wikipedia, and Marseille is not in the French Riviera.
Aha!
The French Riviera is in the southeast corner, and it does not extend. The western border is sort of not official, but it definitely does not include Marseille.
Aha! Wow.
So we're actually going to be skipping the French Riviera, it turns out, because we're going to be going from here to Corsica.
Does Cannes count as the French Riviera?
Yes. Cans. Get some cans. Here's a picture. I'll just post the Wikipedia article in the chat. We can just all read Wikipedia together. That could be a stream. I'm sure there must be streams on Twitch where it's just like let's navigate Wikipedia. Twitch plays Wikipedia. Like vote on which link to follow.
Nice. So earlier this evening on Twitter, John found himself in a conversation with someone, and the setup that they came up with is one that we thought might be worth giving a try on the stream tonight. So, John, why don't you tell us about the first matchup we'll be playing tonight?
Yeah, so I was just chatting with a friend of a friend on Twitter, and about how do you play Sentinels? And I was like, I just hit randomize and I press play, because I always like to get a new challenge and try a completely different thing I wouldn't think of. Some people like to craft their teams, and that's totally fine too. But you can definitely get stuck in a bit of a rut that way. Potentially, you always want to have, say, legacy on your team or something like that. It definitely helps you get better at the game if you play things that you're not comfortable with. So it turns out that he found a setup that seemed to be nearly impossible.
Oh boy!
And so I want to try it.
I'm ready.
So it's Plague Rat in Rook City, which is, Rook City makes anything harder.
Yeah.
For sure. There's very few situations where Rook City is going to help you. And the heroes are the Visionary, Expatriate, and Mr. Fixer.
I will go ahead and take Expatriate because I feel like I know how to play her better than either of the other two.
Okay, then I'll play the other two.
Sure. And as is typical, we will, chat through strategy, and it won't be purely like one or the other. But
yeah, and we'll play regular, not advanced. I probably want to play advanced.
Got it. So here it is, folks. We got Plague Rat, which you did see me beat last week, but this matchup promises to be a little bit harder. So we got Plague Rat versus the Visionary, Expatriate, and Mr. Fixer at Rook City. And here we go. Welcome to Crook City. And there's that sultry saxophone. I will say I've actually been playing the music. I've sort of had the playlist. I made a playlist of all the soundtracks, and I keep that going as I drive the kids to school in the mornings. And they're now starting to have their favorite songs from our game, which is, as a dad, a really pretty cool feeling, actually.
Yeah. So of course, one thing with Sentinels is you're going to get a random start. So the game that Daniel on Twitter played is going to be different than the game we're playing now, but there's still some things that are interesting.
Yeah.
So,
all right, so Visionary starts with 2 Mind Spikes, a Precognition, and a Twist the Ether. Expatriate's got a Liquid Nitrogen rounds, Quick Draw, Shock rounds, and Unload. And Mr. Fixer starts with a Hoist Chain, Meditation, Overdrive, and Tire Iron. Interesting.
Yeah, so some tricks for this matchup. Twist the Ether is really good, either to boost Mr. Fixer, Expatriate, or to reduce Plague Rat, because he does do a lot of irreducible damage, but he also, some damage he does isn't irreducible. Expatriate, is going to be shooting a lot. And Mr. Fixer, if he gets Jack Handle or Dual Crowbars, is going to do really well. Driving Mantis helps too.
All right, so who shall be infected first?
I'd give it to Mr. Fixer.
Yeah, that was going to be my first impulse as well. Help him do some extra damage.
All right.
Speaking of music, Jean-Marc has actually already begun work on Wrath of the Cosmos stuff. As you know, as soon as we launched Shattered Timelines, we immediately started working on Wrath of the Cosmos, and I can tell you that a couple of things he's come up with already, not only for Wrath of the Cosmos, but just in general for some other things that are coming up, hint, hint, wink, wink, are pretty cool. So I know you guys are going to be excited to hear that stuff. And we will be doing another listening party just like we did for Shattered Timelines, because that went so well, and you guys seemed to really like it, and Jean-Marc had a great time, so we'll definitely be doing that again.
I think I'm going to play Twist the Ether on Mr. Fixer.
All right.
Because he's already got a +1. That's going to give him another +1. Or -1 if we want.
Yeah.
And then I want Mr. Fixer to draw Jack Handle, because that just is awesome. Let's see if he does.
Got a grease gun and another meditation.
Okay. Probably not going to use tire iron, so I'm going to get rid of that. Mental divergence might come in handy.
All right, so I've got lots of ammo, but no guns, so I guess I'll start with a quick draw. And I got nothing in my trash, so we'll start with the deck. And I always go for Prejudice first, just because I want to get Prejudice and Pride out in the artwork order, not in the name order.
I do that too.
It's always my choice if I have it. All right, so I'm not gonna. Well, I guess I could play. Although the liquid nitrogen rounds are only so useful if his damage is reducible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So should I just Prejudice him for 2?
Sure.
And I assume we want to sort of keep Plague Locust around, because that's going to help boost Mr. Fixer's damage, at least for the moment.
Yeah, I think as they get more infected heroes, it becomes worse.
Right.
Because he heals more and stuff too, and the heroes deal themselves more damage, but there's only one infected hero, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to have him do cold damage, and it's irreducible, so... Alright, I can now look for Driving Mantis, I think. Either Driving Mantis or the Redirect one is going to be really good.
I see some people commenting there's no Jeremy Cam tonight. I would bring it back, but tonight it's like, why would it only be me and not John? And John is sort of traveling, so it might not work to have him have a video as well as other things. So,
yeah, Driving Mantis is the Redirect one. So I'm going to put that, and then when Mr. Fixer goes to hit himself, he actually redirects to Plague Rat, so...
all right, Plague Rat already down to 80 after the first round. Not too shabby.
Reduce damage.
Yes, Jeremy Cam equals damage cam. You know it. They got a real good look at what the Jeremy deal damage all the time strategy gets you last week. And as I've said many times, it's about a 50-50 draw. And that's what happened last week. 2 wins, 2 losses.
I mean, it's a good strategy for Plague Rat, so...
And actually, yeah, I beat Plague Rat with that strategy. So
there's something to be said for, the more damage you deal, the less number of rounds the villain gets to play. So
that is true.
What do you like to do with this card?
Yeah. This one's a toss-up for me. It really kind of depends. I know how bad it is to get 2 additional potentially hostile cards out. But especially if I have a lot of damage dealers coming up in the rotation, I don't want stuff reduced. So...
yeah, I feel like I'm going to say no. But... because we have enough boosts that we're getting through it.
Yeah, that's fine. Sewer Fiend, immune to toxic.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're actually hitting yourself. Okay. Sewer Fiend I'm actually not really worried about right now. There's not really much in this environment that's going to damage him except the Toxic Sludge. And that would he just be immune, so it wouldn't redirect.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and use Precognition.
I will consider the full-size John cutout idea. I'll have to figure out where I can get something large-scale printed that isn't going to cost a lot of money.
All right, I think Noxious Bite is the least worst thing of these. Because we're only going to get one infection.
All right.
And we definitely don't want Afflicted Frenzy. That is bad. Unless Mr. Fixer has Jackhandle, then it's okay. Then it's good. And I'm going to keep enlightening Mr. Fixer to find it. Well, I don't need 2 toolboxes, so I can discard one.
Purely anecdotally, I find that I only ever get toolboxes in games where I'm playing Darkwatch, Mr. Fixer, and they almost always get destroyed because I want to what's his not overdrive. What's his
Bitter Strike.
Bitter Strike, thank you. And so I always end up just destroying it.
I'm disturbed by how many people in the chat want a cutout of me.
Okay, so I don't have any ammo in my trash. I mean, I guess I could shock rounds.
It won't really do too much, but it'll hit the Plague Locust for 1. I mean, nitrogen rounds wouldn't be bad, because he is going to be hitting someone for reducible damage on his turn.
Done. Stupid twisting back alleys. All right, hollow points. That's some ammo I can get behind. Redirect it. Nice.
I just have to remember not to pick Toxic.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think Toolbox, keep looking for that Jackhandle of Magicness.
Pipe wrench and another meditation.
Oh, Harmony's good. Ugh. Well.
That Racketeer, he's so ambitious.
Well, we know that... excuse me. We know the Plague Rat's playing Infect or Ravage. Or no, Noxious Bite, which isn't too bad right now. So it might not be a bad idea to say yes at this point.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Because his damage reduction means that we're dealing less damage. And as we all know, I like the damage.
I think this is probably going to go to Expatriate. You'll get a +1. Oh, no.
Well, that's the chance you take. Yeah, so just to keep everyone up to date, that what came out was Scum and Villainy. At the end of the environment turn, play the top card of the villain deck. So we played a villain card in order to play another villain card. Fun times.
Oh, and he's immune to damage from environment cards. That's going to hit one of us no matter what. Mr. Fixer could take it.
Do we want to back up and hit it at the Ambitious Racketeer instead?
Oh, yeah, I guess we can do that. Sure. That makes sense.
Am I not? I'm hitting the wrong button. There we go.
So we'll have to say yes. We're not going to cheat that much.
Right. So they're joking around about getting plushie versions of John, but I got to tell you, having been at a Comic-Con this weekend, I really started to get the itch to have Sentinels pop figures.
Well, Plague Rat's gonna flip.
Because, man, those pop figures are everywhere. And seriously, some of the licenses that they have are so obscure that I can't conceive of a reason why Sentinels pop figures would not be as successful as some of these other totally obscure ones that they have. I don't know how many copies of the Tomorrowland Young Frank version of the pop plushie they're planning to sell. I mean, yes, I get it. It's Disney. But still, that movie was pretty widely hailed as a flop. I feel like we could probably sell quite a few legacy pop figures, in my opinion.
Right, Plague Rat is being annoying here.
Well, this was billed as an impossible game, so...
I don't think it's possible. I think it's probably hard.
Infection. Yeah, sight scene, the Funko, those vinyl crazy figures with the big heads, of which I bought my baby metal versions while I was at Comic-Con. And I bought like a Finn for my son and a Ray for my daughter. Yeah, so the thought that Jennifer, our environment / programmer person, helped me out at Comic-Con because she's the other Cleveland-based person, and we were talking about it, and we thought that a 6-figure Freedom 5 and Baron Blade first run of pop figures would be pretty successful. That was our professional opinion. All right, so we're all getting hit for sure. Visionary hurting for sure.
Yeah, I think Visionary's not going to make it very long.
Well, that sounds like a recipe for mind spiking to me.
Or destroying Sewer Fiend.
Oh yeah, I guess that is another choice there.
Or, well, actually, I think we need, if Mr. Fixer gets Jack Handle, we can probably make it through. So I'm just going to keep trying to get Mr. Fixer to get Jack Handle. So I'm going to hit Plague Rat.
Yes, Sesbequenipu. I don't know that I said that correctly. There are baby metal pop figures, and I now own all 3 of them. Interestingly enough, I had to go to 2 different retailers to get them. One of the retailers had Sue Metal, and the other one had U Metal and Mayo Metal. So I had to spread my purchases around, but I did get all 3, so that was cool. As well as getting my picture taken with Eliza Dushku. I'll put that picture up real quick. You guys saw this, right? Everybody saw that I was with a famous person? Everybody? All right, cool. We'll take that back away. All right. Let's see here. Hollow points. I like hollow points. Are we going to try and whittle down that Plague Rat now that that Plague Locust now that we're all infected, or should we just keep going after him?
Keep going after him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 5 damage. It's hard to not send that at the main villain. And out comes the submachine gun. That's good, because I've got that unload waiting for more guns to come out, so...
But I still don't have a Jack Handle. I want a Jack Handle enough that I'm going to play Toolbox again. There it is.
There it is. I'm just going to pop that up for anyone in the chat who doesn't know why we're talking about Jack Handle. Whenever Mr. Fixer would deal damage to a target, he deals that much damage to all non-hero targets. When this card enters play, return any other tool cards to your hand. So that's basically his sort of like his broad area effect damager card.
I was thinking about killing Visionary to heal Mr. Fixer, but not that.
Yeah, Mario Fanatic. I have messed with our streaming software in every way that I know how to try and get the audio to sync up better. It was way more obvious last week when there was the video and you would see me like say something and then hear me say it like a second later. I've messed with delays, I've changed things, whatever. I still cannot get the audio to sync up perfectly. I don't know what I would need to do to make that happen, but I will keep trying. But I think we're doing the best we can for the time being. So please accept my humblest apologies. More scum and villainy, wonderful, just what I was hoping for.
So Visionary is going to be killed by Plague Rat no matter what, so you can take this damage. Or by herself on her turn. So.
Good night, Vanessa. Cytosine, you may always make a request. It is not a legally binding contract.
I'm not sure what is the question about a delay on Harmony setup. I'm not sure what that question is.
So Cytosine asks, could you swap the order of the actions on localized hurricane? Ah, yes, we did get a ticket about this, and I did assign it to John. I don't know if that was you, Cytosine. And we will. It's gone into the queue. I actually made a ticket, a card for it on our sort of internal tracking thing to consider it, because yes, it is sort of the default position, but we tend to like to keep those things in the order they are on the cards, because that way it's sort of a one-to-one match.
If you think you've gotten support requests about it now, if we switch it, you will get 1 million support requests.
Exactly, and so that's why, like I said, I made a ticket for it, but we have not actually discussed it as a team yet, and I'm not making any promises because
more likely we'll do something like have a confirm. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. You just did not respond.
Oh, you were answering his question that we would do something like a confirm.
I thought you would have said something.
Oh. I confirm what John just said. There you go.
I can destroy Expatriate, a target with 1 HP.
Do we? Yeah. So you're saying you want to kill me? Maybe get rid of Scum and Villainy, or get rid of Sewer Fiend or Shadowy Ambush.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Destroy, Scum and Villainy.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. All right.
If you want to send in UI requests, the best way to do it is not on a Twitch chat. It's to send us a feedback via our contact page.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if he did, but somebody did.
Just in general.
Yeah.
If you want something to actually happen, that's more likely to. So yes, here you are. You're incapacitated because you hit yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Stop hitting yourself. But I do all the damage, John. That's just the way it works. All right, so you just want to keep dealing some damage there, Mr. Fixer?
We have two characters who can destroy a target with 1 HP.
You want to use a power now, or do you want to deal some damage next turn? Because I'm assuming there are no targets with 1 HP for you to destroy.
You could do the third one. I never used that.
As I said, yeah. Do you want to deal 1 projectile damage next time you use a power, or do you want to...
I mean, it's effectively the same thing as the first for Mr. Fixer, so it's just interesting. Oh, and now I can't redirect it to him because we lost that. Well, I think the Plague Locust is going to start having to be hit now. Jackhandle! And now I can deal a hero target 3 toxic damage and regain 3 hit points. Oh wait, I don't.
Yeah, he's still immune to toxic.
Yeah, we'll get rid of that next round. Who has the second lowest HP? I'll get rid of that locust because it's making Mr. Fixer die a little more.
Yeah, if you guys need to send an email, you can always send it to support@handelabber.com, or you can just go to handelabber.com and, excuse me, go to the contact page.
All right, you think we can do this, Jeremy?
60 to 8.
He's gone. It's just me.
Power, I assume? Oh, you know what? I'm probably muted, aren't I? Sorry, I was muted. I got a text from Paul over at Greater Than Games, and I was chatting with him, and I paused it so that or muted it so that I wouldn't, you wouldn't hear my clickety clackety, and then I forgot to unmute it. So I was having a whole conversation with you, John, and you couldn't hear me.
Sure.
I was like, so do you want to do a power? What should we do? Should we do this? Should we do that? And then you didn't answer me, and I was like,
So here's a case where actually that third ability is even better because I can play Harmony and get another +1 for the delayed version. And I'm going to keep, air quotes, hitting myself to gain hit points, but I don't actually hit myself, and I still gain hit points. Beautiful. It's beautiful, I say.
Very nice. So talk through exactly how it is that you're gaining hit points, real quick.
So on Plague flip side, he adds powers to the infected heroes. And so one of those powers, if you bring up Plague Rat's card on the screen, is that to deal a hero target 3 toxic damage and regain 3 hit points. So that's sort of, thematically I imagine is almost sort of vampire-like, right? Like take health from a stronger hero to heal a weaker hero, for example. But, you could have damage reduction or redirection or anything like that. The hit point gain is not depending on that target taking damage. And so with Jackhandle, instead of dealing himself damage, he actually deals all non-hero targets damage.
A very good, amazing synergy.
Oh, and Toxic Sludge here. Redirect with Driving Mantis. Beautiful. That's 6 damage to Plague Rat. 7 damage to Plague Rat, actually. For 3 to Mr. Fixer. I might leave that out. Stop hitting me. Oh, he doesn't do anything with that because because everything's already infected. Yeah, Toxic Sludge is easy to get rid of. I'll just destroy these ongoings because they're
shadowy ambush.
Yeah, may as well keep doing that last one because there's some chance I could do more. So like play Bloody Knuckles, for example, but that's probably not a good idea.
That's good for like the last turn when it's like those extra 2 hit points will finish off Plague Rat.
Yeah. So here's another Mr. Fixer trick. I can play Overdrive, and if you look at that, it says I can use Strike 2 times this turn. If I have another power, I can use that other power and then use Strike 2 times.
Ahaha! Wording, so important in this game.
And now I can use Strike. And now I can use Strike. This is why you bring Mr. Fixer to a playground fight if you want to win. It's definitely never impossible if he's in the game. Yeah, I think I'll discard because... I mean, what do you think? It's hitting Plague for more than it's hitting me, so...
Yeah, I mean, as long as you've sort of done the mental math to make sure that you can stay ahead of it.
Well, it depends on what he does on his turn, right?
Yeah.
So, I'll play it a little safe.
So interestingly, egg roll 20xt6.
You have to vote.
Very nice. I like your username. Has asked, once all the expansions are released for Sentinels Multiverse video game, will the weekly games continue? Will you turn your attention to other products? Somebody asked that question last week, as a matter of fact. And the answer to that is I cannot speak that far in the future. I like playing Sentinels just in general. But yeah, the live stream may, in the future, incorporate future games that we work on. It may not. I can tell you at this point that we are probably still at least a year away from having everything done for Sentinels. So there's definitely at least, and there's quite a few streams yet to be had in the Sentinels world. So I wouldn't worry too much about us.
I feel like they're not talking about the live stream.
Oh, is he talking about weekly one-shots?
Yes.
Weekly one-shots will definitely continue. No question about that. And I will say this too about the weekly one-shots. That feature, when we first built it, its goal is to do what it's been doing, which is keep people playing and whatever. But part of it was also the idea that I would like to see that particular feature expanded. So as Lockencant says, the idea of having like a community option. Another idea we floated about the weekly one-shot was having a play the stream game where like whatever games we play on the stream, we would then post in the weekly one-shot as another option. So basically there'd be more than one weekly one-shots is kind of what the idea there is. Maybe 2 or 3 a week, as well as obviously historically you can go back and play them all. But yeah, I love the idea of a game that is continuing to foster community. That's why we built the weekly one-shot in the first place. And I think it would be kind of dumb of us to abandon that feature, since it's really, it's honestly we've gotten more positive feedback about the addition of that feature than we got about the addition of multiplayer, if you can believe that. Multiplayer was a huge feature that we spent a ton of time on over the summer last year. And when it came out, a lot of people were like, all right, cool, multiplayer, and that was about it. But the weekly one-shot, I get feedback reports every week of people saying like, oh my god, I love this feature, thank you so much, I can't wait to play the next one, etc., etc. So yeah, I would not expect those to go away anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, we can have like automatically generated weekly one-shots. They wouldn't be as interesting, but it's something we could do. Still doing ridiculous stuff with Mr. Fixer. It's basically just a matter of a small amount of time at this point. I think I play Bloody Knuckles. I'll do 5 with my Plague Rat power. And then... or 6 with my Plague Rat power, and then 4 with my expatriate bonus. It won't be quite enough.
See, this is the stuff you guys didn't get last week. When the game got to this point where I'm checking out and just reading the chat, and John is doing all the strategy. That was why the 2 middle games last week were such horrible losses, because I just checked out and started reading the chat and just sort of clicked stuff.
It'll be over next round.
Yeah, I love... See, this is the kind of scenario I find myself in with the Scholar a lot of times, which is like, all of a sudden the tables turn and the hero is gaining while the villain is losing. Scholar's really good at that kind of strategy, where, all of a sudden his healing is really just piling up while the villain is just falling.
Yeah, tooth and claw would have been dangerous, actually. Not deadly, but dangerous.
What should you do?
I want to get him to 1 hit point so that the incap abilities can...
All right, well.
Nah, that's not going to happen. We'll let him bite himself to death. There you go.
There's that victory music.
Certainly a difficult scenario, but not impossible, and that's definitely not the only way to win. But it's obviously a relatively easier way to win that is to go with the jack handle idea.
I think the most amazing thing about this ending game art is the fact that, what is it, Revico? What's the name of it?
Revocorp.
Revicorp has thought to have an additional piece on those gauntlets to hold his tail. Like that's thinking ahead right there.
So that tail's probably trouble.
I'm sure it is. All right, so that was inspired and or taken from a Twitter conversation with John. And as you can see, not impossible, especially when you have a John on your team. All right, so what should we do for a